Have you ever seen the guy that would be out riding a bicycle or doing things outdoors, but he had a Zoom meeting that he had to be on, and he had a green screen attached to his back, and he was he was using the Zoom, background feature, and he was doing all kinds of shit, and he just looked like he's wild outside someplace, but it looks like he's like at the house. I thought that was hilarious. I thought about that, for your background in your vehicle there.
Well, I've seen the one where it's the guy and he's in a Zoom meeting. He's supposed to be working from home, but he's in his car and he's driving somewhere, maybe he's on vacation, who knows. But anyway, he gets in a wreck. And so it's the background is like his living room or something, but all of a sudden it's, car crash and it's mayhem ensues. So, Tony, I've been noticing in the news lately that the Grand Cherokee is back in a bad way, and it's got its bad reputation that has followed it from years and years ago. I don't know that the Grand Cherokee has ever really had a good reputation, especially when it comes under the context of recalls. And the Grand Cherokee was recently recalled again, a total of, almost 500,000 units, over 400,000 units of the Grand Cherokee WL have been recalled for yet again another airbag issue. And this raises an interesting question about really the airbag industry and the automotive manufacturing industry as a whole. And when we've heard, issues with Honda way back in the day, they had just horrible issues with their airbags. The Takata airbag recall comes to mind. And now it seems like the Jeep just can't get out from under that umbrella as well. I think this is, to date, at least as far as my memory goes, probably the second, if not third or more, recall for airbag-related issues the Grand Cherokee has had since the WL's inception.
Well, what's the culpability for Jeep or Stellantis? I mean, they don't make the airbags, right? I mean, their culpability is who they choose to be the vendor.
And that's just it. Honda was in that same boat with Takata, that manufacturer of airbags. They chose a supplier that maybe just wasn't holding up to their QC standards. So I'm wondering if Jeep is now kind of in the same boat with the airbags they're using in the WL. Now, this Grand Cherokee recall is related to the side airbags, not necessarily the main, what one would consider the main airbags in the dash or in the steering wheel. So I don't know if that's a silver lining to this at all, and that, likely this isn't as big of an issue as it could be. I mean, regardless, you don't want to get hit. You don't ever want to be in a position where airbags are deployed. But, we've long since been at the forefront, the tip of the spear, as you will, of getting the news out to Jeepers as far as recalls that are up and coming, because we know about this stuff oftentimes long before notices ever get sent out.
So I'm gonna cue this up for you, Josh. So be ready. So one of the downsides for the airbags is it can be very hazardous for short people.
I could probably see that. I mean,
no. Generally, you have to say it could kill you in the unique way that you say.
Oh yes. Yeah, I suppose if you are vertically challenged, then something like an airbag getting deployed in an improper way or in a very violent manner, it could kill you.
There we go. So, but I mean, you're old enough to have driven vehicles, or you've driven vehicles that were older, too old to have airbags, right? So
now I even on today's cars, on my cars, I pull the fuse. We die like men.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and there's hazards associated with that, and there's costs. The airbags aren't cheap. I guarantee you, when you're off road, you run the risk of an airbag deploy.
Well, sure. Hell, I've been in situations where, just one comes to mind recently where I dented up the back bumper on my XJ. My stupid floor mat got caught up underneath my gas pedal, or up on top of my gas pedal, and I was stuck in a position where I was sort of stuck half accelerating. And I was in this position where I was backing up and going forward, backing up and getting forward. I wasn't necessarily stuck, but I was kind of in between these trees. And as I was backing up, the accelerator didn't spring back as it should have. And the acceleration profile didn't end as it should have. And I continued backing up despite not wanting to. And bam, into a tree I went. I mean, anything like, from something like that, some stupid gas pedal mistake issue, or a buddy sliding into you, or perhaps you lose your line and come down onto a rock just at the right angle, at just the right speed for that airbag sensor to, oh, hello, here you go. But I don't know. There's something I've always actually wondered is if you go into 4 low in a Jeep, you're not going to be going more than 5 or 10 miles an hour at best. Do the airbags get deactivated at that point? Do the sensors go away?
I don't know. I think in the TJ there was a fuse or something that looked like a fuse that you could use to disable the airbags.
The Jeep Talk Show newsletter. Subscribe right now and get news on episodes, events, and more. xjtalk.com/newsletter. I'm
just wondering if it's a feature, because like in a lot of the Wranglers, your rear locker, like on the Rubicons, would be unable to be used in 2-wheel drive or 4 high, I think, or something. There was an issue where you could rewire the switch or whatever, but you were locked out of certain features in certain modes, is what I'm getting at. And I'm just wondering if that is something that maybe continued on through potentially the SRS system. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense to disable the airbags in 4 low, because the vehicle would never be going at a speed high enough for that to be needed. I guess unless you roll off the side of a mountain, in which case you're in a tumble scenario, and then you'd want the airbags to go off.
Well, I mean, you could be going 5 miles an hour. You could be going 5 miles an hour, and then somebody could hit you doing much faster. So would the airbags, should the airbags be turned off at that point? I mean, if they hit you at 30 miles an hour and you're doing 5, even in the opposite direction, I think you probably still need that protection.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I'd be a bad automotive engineer turning those kind of features off at the wrong times. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want protection on the trail? No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that there's a recall, and it's a shame there's a recall on the Grands. Oh, changing directions here. Hopefully you were done with that topic.
Sure.
You said Grand Cherokee, and that was a sarcastic sure. Are you done?
Yeah, no, actually, I could have gone on, but there's no, not really. Right.
I don't want to cut you off. But anyway, I did a little research here before we got on. You know how I am just so giddy with technology, and I'm very excited about the robotaxis that Tesla is starting to roll out with the full self-driving. I mean, literally no steering wheels or pedals in these robotaxis.
No, I saw the one of the first what are they called, Waymo or something like that. The right. Waymo. I saw they've got a couple of those out here in the PDX area now.
Yeah,
so
it's a bad movie. It's like a bad movie from where they said in the 2000s. Into 2000s, these will be our taxis with those LiDAR things, little bumps that look like measles or something.
Dude, I mean, I'm going down a rabbit trail here just because you brought it up, but I read an article this weekend about how humanoid robot manufacturing has hit an all-time high and is now on the cusp of going, what do they call it? Like, full mainstream production. So, I mean, Tony, I'm going to call the ball right now. We're less than 3 years away from iRobot.
Oh, I know. It's exciting as hell. Anyway, the thing I had looked up, because I was kind of curious about Jeep. I heard I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and they were talking about how Stellantis is now, and along with other manufacturers, of course, Mercedes and so on and so forth, they're investigating full self-driving. And several of them already have somewhat of a self-driving. GM even has somewhat of a self-driving thing, but not anything on the level of Tesla or even Waymo. So I thought it was interesting enough to do a little digging here before we got on to record. And Stellantis is working on self-driving vehicles, which I think they pretty much have to, because I think if there's a manufacturer that has where you do not have to drive and you can go thousands of miles without having to do anything except just sit there and ride and read your emails and stuff, if they want to compete, they have to be able to do this. Anyway, they've done some testing. Stellantis has done some testing with the Grand Cherokee. And if you remember us talking about this many, many years ago, having to do with the Land Rovers, they are investigating off-road driving with the Grand Cherokee, automatic off-road driving. Driver not needed.
I swear that Stellantis teased this back in, I want to say
I think
2019,
you're right.
2020,
Yep.
maybe 2021, somewhere right around there, where this was right around the inception of the 4xe. And they were teasing that concept out. And in one of the Easter Jeep Safari concept vehicles that they were releasing, there was a concept version where you could drive the Jeep up a trail or down a trail or something like that. And for instance, you were going to mountain bike down the mountain or something like that. You could park your Jeep, mountain bike down the trail, and then you could hit a button on your phone or something like that, and the Jeep would self-drive down the trail to come get you.
It's going to be an interesting future.
This was a feature that they were working on this 5 or 6 years ago or better.
Yeah.
And so I'm not entirely surprised that, the Grand Cherokee has always been at the forefront of Jeep's lineup as far as, how much technology is packed into one vehicle. And it's always been relatively impressive. In fact, the Grand Cherokee's probably won more awards for that than just about any other vehicle, especially in Jeep's lineup. But that being said, I don't necessarily think that trusting a vehicle to navigate off-road is going to be something that we could rely on anytime soon.
It sounds like a very difficult task.
Just to look at all the obstacles that they've had to overcome just for a vehicle to stay in the lane and not hit something or somebody. You've got lane markers, you've got sidewalks, you've got telephone poles, you've got lots of recognizable universal features. Double yellow line, dash yellow line, white lines, they all mean the same thing. All of that goes away off-road. And then you get into a situation where, okay, maybe there's some mist in the air, some fog, it's pouring down rain, it might be snowing. Can the cameras actually see the terrain? Can they, can the LiDAR work enough to pick out where the trail is and where the trail is not, and understand that you have to go over this obstacle, not avoid it, in order to go through this trail and not roll over or go off the side of the mountain?
Yeah, there's a lot of judgments that the AI has to make.
So many, and I don't think that we're there yet. Now, okay, could it go down a logging road, a graveled road that has trees on both sides? It still looks like a relatively normal driving way that a vehicle could go down safely without having to get tricky with navigational maneuvers and stuff like that. I could see that being something that it could reliably do. But once you get into an actually off-road situation, you're going to need four-wheel drive. You're going to need to worry about tire placement and line selection and things like that. I don't think AI is there yet.
Well, that's a good point that you bring up about the needing four-wheel drive. Right now, the AI could not put a Jeep in four-wheel drive because, thank God, it's a mechanical thing that you have to move with your little hand and make sure it's engaged, and yank on it because it's really hard to get it in there. So all the Jeeps would have to go to the buttons or the knobs or something electronic.
We're already there for the most part.
Well, not the Wranglers or the Gladiators, though. It's still mechanical.
Well, to a certain extent, look at how much drive-by-wire technology has been crammed into vehicles now. I mean, we're so disconnected from the road anymore in today's vehicles that I don't know that's a technology that isn't already here and isn't already being implemented in other ways.
All right. Let me read this real quick, what I looked up. Current status as of mid-2026. Stellantis has a dedicated platform called STLA AutoDrive for advanced driver assistance and automated driving features across its brands, including Jeep, Ram, Dodge, etc. They paused full level 3 rollout, hands-free plus eyes off, in 2025 because they ran out of money. No, I'm sorry. In 2025, due to high cost, technical challenges, and a limited market demand. I'm calling on that. If you have the option of messing with your phone and not having to go through traffic, not worried about traffic, the stop and go traffic especially, I can't believe anybody, as long as it wasn't you didn't feel it was dangerous or it was extremely expensive, everybody would like to have a driver. I mean, everybody would like to be Miss Daisy.
Sure. Yeah. Jeeves, take me to 7-Eleven. Yeah. I think that at this point, so Jeep has kind of got itself in a bit of a pickle with this whole pay to play thing. And I think that the cost of technology, the R&D, and the amount of research and development that has to go into a process or a technology before it can go into full stream manufacturing is astronomical. And then once you have quote unquote perfected that, gotten all the bugs worked out enough to where the NHTSA is going to allow you to put this into your vehicle, that at that point, that option, you're likely not going to get that option on a vehicle under $60,000. And so, yeah, consumer demand, it's like, well, okay, I'm not going to pay an extra 10 G's for a feature that I might use a few times a year or something like that.
You might if it was a Grand Cherokee, because a lot of people look at the Grand Cherokee as a luxury vehicle, and I think a lot of women drive that. So if you could get that convenience for your wife, I think that might be a plus.
Welcome to the Jeep Talk Show Discord. Connect with fellow Jeep enthusiasts and share your builds. From trails to mods, join the conversation. Link in the description. See you there.
Well, and then again, it may be a feature that you have to pay for. It might be a monthly
you mean like by the mile or something? Yeah.
Right. Not only do you have to pay to unlock it, but then, okay, you've got at this tier, a 100-mile max of AutoDrive or something like that. And, so you only get 100 miles a month on AutoDrive. Is that enough for you? And then the next tier up, well, that's going to be another $250 a month or something like that.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to have that. And also, too, it comes up on the center display. How much would you like to tip? 15, 20?
Oh, my God. The memes and the videos about the tip screens lately. Good Lord. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I heard this lady completely going off the other day. It's like, I went into this frozen yogurt place. It's self-serve. It's, I tap to pay. I didn't even, or, I used my Google Pay or something like that, Apple Pay, Apple Wallet, whatever it was. It's like the person didn't even have to come out from the back room and they want a tip. It's like, you didn't even have to take my card from me. What the hell am I tipping for? It's just like, yeah, you got a tip for everything nowadays. And yeah, your pay to play services on your Jeep, it's going to have a tip screen on it next. No doubt.
Well, this is another thing, like I was talking about in the full self-driving. If a manufacturer does not have like level 4 full self-driving, which it can drive itself thousands of miles, it can drive itself. And you start doing pay to play for CarPlay or heated seats, heated steering wheel. At some point, people are going to say
that vacation got real expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty soon people are going to say, fuck it. I'll just buy this other vehicle that has all this stuff. No pay to play, with the exception of paying $100 a month for full self-driving. Because I think that is a feature. And you really kind of have to think about it. My daughter works for a Mercedes dealership, and she has to drive to various places around Texas. Not all the time, but like she's in San Antonio right now. She had to go there she's in IT. She had to go there to help set up a new dealership they bought. And I was just thinking about her. From here to San Antonio is about a 2.5 hour trip, so it's not that bad. But if you could just sit in the car, be reading your emails, looking at your phone, relaxing for that trip, and then the car actually knows where the chargers are, and it goes and you do the charge, you go to the bathroom, you get a snack, you get back in, and it leaves. You press the button to go, and it continues on. That's a lot of stress that you've have off the plate. So
I've just heard too many stories over the last few years about, and this is across the board. These self-driving vehicles taking people to the wrong place, or they drive you into a wall, or they just all of a sudden there's a parade or something, or somebody set up a farmer's market and the thing just wigs out because it doesn't know what to do anymore.
Right.
And there's just, I don't know. It's just, there's too much room for error.
Yeah.
And I've heard too many stories and too many reports about things not working properly.
Yeah.
And I know that I can work properly. Oh, sure, I can get distracted. I can miss my exit. I can drive, like, oh, I was driving to work and I'm supposed to be going over to my buddy's house, and now
Right.
I'm on the wrong complete freeway. What the?
How did I get here? 3 hours in, it's like, oh wow,
right.
I'm here. How did I get here?
I don't remember the last 3 exits. Holy.
So
Yeah,
that's embedded full self-driving in our brain. So I'll just mention this because this is common. You hear a lot about this stuff. It's the Waymos that are having the issues because they're not really using AI. They're using coding, and they have to have detailed maps. They have to have the LiDAR so they can scan for stuff, and the scanning is slow. So I would not get in a taxi unless I was wanting to make some money that had LiDAR. LiDAR is a dead end. Cameras, vision, just like our eyes, and true AI. So, but next time you and the listeners or the viewers hear about some self-driving vehicle screwing up, make sure you find out which one it was. And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, or maybe even closer to 10 out of 10, it's going to be a Waymo.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If it's not those knobby bits hanging off of it.
They are one ugly piece of machinery, that is for sure.
Yeah, they should have used the Pontiac Aztec. That would have been really good.
Oh God.
All right, what else you got, Josh? I know you had several things that you wanted to talk about.
Well, so do you remember, this was right around 2021, 2022, Jeep was talking about the death of the V8 and how they were pretty much going to phase out the SRT and the Hellcat. Pretty much any of the V8 engines were going to more or less go away.
We can't have fun, we can't have nice things.
We have to bow down to our EPA overlords. And I think that was a big part of it. Was Stellantis was looking at what their overall mileage was. And that's the thing, is that you have to have a certain EPA mileage average across your entire lineup. And so if you've got a couple of fun cars in your lineup, you've got to have a couple of electric cars in your lineup to offset.
Cars, yes.
Yeah, exactly. and so Jeep has been sort of in that sort of catch-22 situation where, okay, do we completely sacrifice our lineup because we have all these SRT and Trackhawk models and stuff like that, or do we try and hit a little bit more mainstream? And I think they got to the point of where they were looking at it and just be like, well, the EPA is coming down hard. The regulations keep increasing. We're going to have to bury the V8. And that's sort of what the news was, is that the Mopar V8 was going to go away. And this was going to be the last year of offerings, and that was 2021, 2022, whatever it was, for these Hellcat and Trackhawk and SRT models. Well, the news has come out just this week that Jeep realized that was one of the biggest mistakes they could ever make. Jeep has got a history over the last couple decades of actually listening to their buyer base and kind of paying attention to what the consumers actually want and what they need and what they're looking for from a specific manufacturer, i.e. Jeep. And one of the things that has always been a big cry for demand has been the V8 in a Wrangler. And it's just been the ultimate, fun toy platform. And they did a couple versions of it. I mean, the 392 comes to mind, first and foremost. And that was a huge success. And I think that when Jeep started really playing the mainstream news line of, hey, we're going to bury the V8, they started getting a lot of feedback over the next following few years as to what exactly the consumer base was thinking about that move. And even though I think it was forced upon them back then, I think they're going to try and do a backtrack now and look at bringing back the Hellcat, the SRT, and specifically the Trackhawk model trim for the Grand Cherokee. And they're looking at, I believe, a 2027 or 2028 release date of that. And rumors have it that they may even extend the Trackhawk trim to the Cherokee as well, not just the Grand Cherokee. Could you imagine?
That would make it kind of cool.
Right? And now look, I am not a huge fan. Look, you can go back to 2016, back when the original this new generation of Cherokee came out.
Oh, we were so excited. We were so excited they were bringing the Cherokee back.
We were looking right, and then we saw what it was going to look like, and we were looking for any and every opportunity to get our hands on enough money to get one so we could take it out into a rock quarry and shoot the shit out of it.
Yeah,
or something like that. So long since have a reputation of me not being a huge fan of the new generation of Jeep Cherokee. That being said, if they're going to toy around with the idea of a Trackhawk version of the Cherokee, not the Grand Cherokee, of the actual Cherokee itself, a V8 in that platform would be exceptionally fun, I believe. Especially if they did like an all-wheel drive version of it. I think that could be a potential seller.
Oh, the throaty V8, some good exhaust on there.
None of this, exactly. Now, none of this is official yet. It's all still sort of in the rumor mill. But you know how the rumor mills in the automotive industry kind of end up having a degree of accuracy to them. Sometimes things end up coming to fruition. Sometimes they don't exactly as we thought, but they sort of lean or go that direction anyways. So whether or not this is actually going to happen, we're still probably a year or two of finding out whether or not that's actually going to, get made or not. But I think here in the next 6 months or so, we should find out if that's actually going to happen or not. Now, I believe I could see the Grand Cherokee SRT coming back, the Grand Cherokee Trackhawk coming back with a Hellcat option. They're talking about a supercharged V8, 777 horsepower, over 700 foot-pounds of torque. Nothing to be with. That's going to be, one hell of a power machine right there.
Welcome to the Jeep Talk Show. We've been going strong since 2010 with over 400 episodes. It's more than a podcast. It's an experience. Join the adventure.
But whether or not it's going to happen, I think is going to be up to Stellantis and what they want to do as far as their EPA lineup and their overall mileage across the whole lineup. I think right now we're at 50-50. This could be something that comes back. It could be something that just doesn't actually, right. Because we saw rumors of the inline six that is in the Wagoneer getting a twin turbo version and being Stellantis's new big horsepower generator because the V8 was going to go away. Well, we've got this inline six that's got a good reputation, although it's a new design. Let's throw two turbos at it and let's see what we can produce. Mm-hmm. And it's actually quite impressive, to be honest, but it's not 777 horsepower. So, right. But that being said, lighter motor, higher RPMs, better mileage. I don't know. This could go any one of a number of different ways, but time will tell.
So, you don't have to have a V8. You don't have to have the higher octane requirements that you drive the thing every day. But boy, it sure is cool. And I personally like the idea that it's available. That if the lottery came in or I fall at Walmart and I can afford it after the settlement, hell yeah. Right.
Well, tell me, okay, so one thing that I thought would have been cool, if they were talking about this inline six, and they've been using it in the Wagoneer, it is a viable engine. It is being manufactured.
It's very nice.
It is exactly. So they've got the ability to throw two turbos on the thing. Why haven't we seen an inline six twin turbo in the Wrangler yet?
God, what was it? I think there's something about space. It's like
I know it's a long block. It's a long block. Yeah. I get it. So what would be so bad about seeing a Jeep a Jeep Wrangler with a nose that's maybe 3 inches longer?
Oh, kind of like a reverse LJ.
A hood. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Instead of making it longer in the back, make it longer in the front.
But honestly, would the proportions really be thrown off all that much? Would it really look all that hideous if the hood was 3 inches longer? Is that all it needs? Would it be 6 inches? Would it be 3 inches? Would it only be an inch? I don't know. But if that's the only reason that they haven't thrown an inline six with or without turbos into the Wrangler yet, I mean, come on. It has been done in the past.
Oh, the YJ, the TJ, the XJ.
The YJ, the TJ, exactly.
We love the 4.0 liter. I mean, that was an amazing engine. And I think it'd be great.
Much longer?
I mean, actually, let's put the 4.0 back in the in the JT and all those others. You know, let's do it the right way.
I think it would sell. I think it would sell. So I don't know. Maybe there's some people out there within the Jeep world, Jeep official, who can take heed to this and maybe present something to the design gurus at Stellantis, saying, hey, there's been some rumors about the guys out there wanting, people out there wanting an inline six and possibly one or two turbos on it in the Wrangler. Let's see if we can make that happen. I'm surprised we haven't even at least seen a concept yet.
That's what I was going to say. A concept vehicle with a 4.0 in it or a Hurricane engine would be really cool, even if they had to cut the firewall out a little bit, Well,
come on. We've seen a lot more drastic design offerings from Jeep in their concept lineup for Easter Jeep Safari over the years. This is not out of the stretch of imagination, and certainly well within their means of using Jeep performance products and other things to sort of make it happen. What they've done as far as body design and stuff like that, as far as modifications to their base platforms to create their concept vehicles that we've seen over the decades, have been exceptionally impressive. And so they've certainly got the means, they've got the capabilities. So let's make it happen. Let's see that the new Hurricane motor. Let's see a couple, turbos slapped on that in a Wrangler. What is that going to look like? What kind of horsepower? What kind of torque? What kind of measurements at the wheels? What kind of wheelbase would that look like? All those sorts of things. It's not too hard. And I think that if Jeep really was serious about listening to their customer base, the inline six has been long since lauded as one of Jeep's best engines. Now, does this one compare to the 4-liter, the venerable 4-liter of yesteryear? That I think that is still yet to be decided. But nonetheless, an inline six and Jeep, it just goes together like peanut butter and jelly.
Well, you need
Let's put
torque.
one in a Wrangler.
You need torque, not horsepower. Horsepower is fun. It sounds good, but you need torque off-road. And if you're driving a Wrangler or a Gladiator, you want the torque. I mean, don't get me wrong, the V8s have torque too, but it's really more high horsepower.
Exactly. So, a 392 Wrangler is all fine and dandy. I love it. I love the concept. I love the sound. I love the looks and the performance, the capabilities and everything else. But let's go ahead and switch it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and bring some diversity to the lineup and gives the people some options. Hell, maybe it is. I haven't been in a Jeep dealership in probably close to 10 years. So I don't know. I haven't gone online and actually built a Jeep in quite a while. I think since probably 2020. And so maybe it is an offering. Maybe you can pay an extra 10 grand to have that engine slapped into the vehicle. I mean, it is a Jeep engine. It is a Jeep vehicle. Can't they put the two together? I don't know. So maybe there is an issue with spacing. Maybe it is beyond just a matter of brackets and things like that. There could be a lot of other things going on as far as why we haven't seen that. But I just think it's too easy to do. I think it's too possible, and I'm just wondering why it hasn't been done yet.
I suspect it has a lot to do with the retooling and the all the stuff that they'd have to do to make the changes.
Sure.
They have a platform.
I would be surprised if somebody over there doesn't have this on their drawing board in a file somewhere on their computer. Inline six Wrangler concept. Somebody's got that at Jeep. Come on, boys, let's bring it out.
Yep.
Hey everyone, welcome to Jeep Talk Show. Send us your video comments for a chance to be on the show. Just visit the website below and upload your video. We can't wait to hear from you.
Well, that's about all I got, Tony. I have arrived to my destination, so I'm about ready to say farewell, Jeepers, and gonna have to bid you guys farewell until next time. Tony, I love coming back on the show and doing this sort of thing. I really miss all the engagement and everything. So we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. And in fact, there is something that I've been working on sort of on the back burner, trying to get some additional content made. And I kind of teased that a week or two ago with an idea of a concept of a segment called you and just for the sake of beeps there. And a concept that is one of those things where how you say it, Josh, what grinds your gears lately? this is going to be one of those segments where I'm just going to go off. And for those of you who have listened to the show for decades, you know how much I like to go off. I'll get up on my soapbox and I am going to rant. Well, that's what this segment is going to be. It's going to be me for about 90 seconds just going the off on something that I've seen out there, whether it be a dumb driver or something that I've seen happen or something like that. I'm going to call it out, and it's going to be you.
Well,
but I'm not
people
going to be
remember
quite
in the
as nice
past,
about it.
you can complain better than any woman that can complain. So, and it's always funny. So that's the best thing about it. It's hilarious.
So there's a little official tease for some stuff that's going to be coming up in the near future. So look forward to that. And in the meantime, Jeepers, make sure you guys keep it between the ditches and keep it rubber side down.
All right, Josh, thanks a lot. We'll see you again soon.
Indeed.
From the mind of Nicky G.
Hey, this is Nicky G. And, Yvette won't tell you this, but if you have a dog that's running a fever, best thing to put on it is mustard. Yeah, that's the best topping for a hot dog. I know I'm funny. You know, my wife was in labor. I tried telling her a joke. Yeah, it didn't work. Must have been the delivery. Gotta work on that. All right, boys and girls, I'll chat you later and have a good one. Bye. It didn't work the way I wanted it to, but it is what it is.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.
Extra tater tots for anyone who subscribes to the Jeep Talk Show. It's better on his gravy. Listen on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Olo, or iHeartRadio. Joyride. Describe now. Joyride.